And hello, my lovely people. Another movie review for you. I know no one's watching yet, but for future viewers. The movie I'm reviewing tonight is Record, or REC as it's spelled, the name. And it's got a lot of, let's say, unknown actors. It was directed by Jaime Balagueró and Paco Plaza, and it's a Spanish horror film. I think it's, it didn't have much money, so yeah, it's got a lot of not well known actors, like, let's say the main characters are like the cameraman, the reporter, and the fireman, basically. And you've got some of the other people in the building who you visit later on as they go into the flat. So for some of them, I like the lady who, the main woman reporter's actor is Manuela Velasco. And people like Ferran Terraza. So you can see, not well known actors really, but let's get into the story first. The basic story for this is there's a program. It's like sort of it's like one of these found footage, like from the view of the camera, and it's for this show called While You Were Sleeping. Basically, they're like following the lives of a fireplace station for a day, and they get teamed up with like two of the firemen. They go out for a call. Basically, they go to this house. This like flat, because there's been a call that someone's like been screaming, and it was someone who lives at the top, which is a bit of a weird one, as they say. But then the place gets locked down, and it's locked down. No one's allowed out for a certain reason. And that's all I'm going to say about the story. But what I would say about the story is, it was quite nicely paced. It was really... They didn't make the shit hit the fan too quickly. They didn't like burn everything and then sort of like have a really dull moments towards the end. It was like really, really good building up tension. Especially towards the end, because there's a record too, or rec too. And at the end they had some really cool paper cuts, cutting from paper, and some like a tape thing, and that sort of built up a bit more of a story towards the end, as well as like probably something which like the second one will come back to, I'm guessing. Overall though, intriguing enough story to keep you interested. I was more prepared to be scared, but attempt to be scared, because I heard people saying, oh, if you watch this you won't be sleeping. But yeah, good story. Acting, like I said, not well known actors, but they all did their job, and I actually really liked the actor of the main female reporter, and everyone was believable. If you were like in their situation, you would act like they were acting. You would freak out. You would like get shouty and all that. But they all had their kind of different personalities, and I really liked how they built their character up at the start before anything happened. So overall, good acting. Nothing really bad about the acting. See, what about the camera work in this? It was good. Like, I like the fact that to make it, because you wouldn't be filming all the time, so they had bits where like they'd be filming it to switch off when it come on at a different point. Well, that was quite clever, because you didn't know switch off, and you never knew what it was going to switch back onto. So that gave a bit of tension. I like that. It wasn't too shaky, because I can get the point, because it's camera, and it's going to be a bit shaky. But it wasn't so shaky that it spoiled the movie for me. I could take it, and I've seen stuff like Paranormal Activity, but that's actually not that shaky. But this is basically a shaky cam film, but it's not so much not shaky enough that it ruins the film. Okay. I guess you want to know, did it scare me? Did it keep me awake? Here's the thing. First of all, I think the fact that one thing I find is I get a bit more scared of ghost stuff. Because that stuff's like freaky anyway. That stuff's, you know, it's really more mysterious, as you could say. More, very mysterious. So I don't get as scared at zombie stuff. I get, you know, most of the time I'm like, oh cool, that's a cool way that thing got killed or whatever. But this one, oh, no, they were really good at building the tension. I was like, you know, the way it came on and off, and like when the camera came back on, it was like a bit more frantic. And it was built up, that's the thing. They didn't do all the plot straight away. They didn't unload it all straight away. The tension built and built and built, and towards the end bits when the lights went off and they were using the night bit, holy Jesus, that was tense. But one thing I will say is there are quite a lot, for me, predictable bits. Because it's a zombie film, zombies, you know, like infection, biological infection, or whatever. You kind of expect them to like sort of come at certain points, and they do, so it still makes you jump, but you're like, oh, that was so typical, and you feel a bit embarrassed for falling for it. But I'm not saying like there's no original scares, like they did, it's amazing the makeup they used in this made them look really cool and sort of, they weren't typical zombie, they were like, you know, they just did really good makeup work in this. And I would say that they didn't, like, how can I say this? It was tense, but not as scary as I thought it would be. Basically, because some of the things were predictable. There's a lot of jump scares, and if you don't like that kind of thing, or if you think you can take that kind of thing, this might not be as scary as people are saying, and I didn't find it as scary as some other people are saying. I'm not saying that I was like not freaked out by the end, like I was, like especially the actual imagery at the end of like one of the old ladies, some sort of zombie infected person. That was actually quite freaky, and especially like towards the end, you know, we've seen these newspaper clips and all that stuff that built up the tension. So in the end, and the ending shot was, you know, it was typical again, that was typical. I knew what's going to happen, but it ended in a good, you know, it was like a typical ending basically, but I liked the whole, like how they built up a bit more plot just before the ending. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say really. The best things about this film were some of the shots, the story was pretty good, and the acting was very, very good. I enjoyed it, especially the lead lady, it was really good. And yeah, that's my review. And not as scary as I thought it would be, but still tense, and it kept its tenseness, which is quite hard for a film to do sometimes. So that's my review, folks. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.